The Cliffy Miller Yard will have the 6 runners to look forward to on Friday. And first up will be this lovely lady in shot behind us. Her name is Ocean Flame. She'll be in action in the very first race, race 1. Now, she's placed in both starts so far in the Eastern Cape. Nick, they've been decent runs, and she's got to be considered for the win.
Yeah, she's last time I thought she was desperately unlucky. She lost the race at the gates. How she ran third, I don't quite know. If she came out on terms, she probably would have won that day, in my opinion. Hopefully she comes out on Friday. She's obviously, like you say, she's run 2 cracking runs here. On a penultimate run, a local debut, she should win a race like this. Obviously the newcomers are a worry, but she's doing really well at home, and I'm expecting a very good effort.
Vihan's Queen will be next up in race 3. Now, she won a gutsy race last time out. It was over a touch further, though.
Yeah, unfortunately, the handicappers decided to give me the full 6, and have put me back to where I was a year ago. So there's not many races for her, so I had to take my chances in the mile. Obviously, at the weights, there's a lot of weight turnovers with honourable member.
Yeah.
It's a tricky race. Plus the main brace at the top with the Claim 4 is also a big runner. So, we're hoping. She's a type of filly who's gutsy, and hopefully she's in a bit of form now. She can maybe run in the first 3. I'm just hoping for a nice run, and we will see where we go.
Bretti's next up in race 4. Now, she ran a really nice race trying the mile for the first time in her last start behind a decent sort.
Really nice run. It's nice to see she actually settled, and maybe settled a little bit too well. I know she dropped way off the field, and she ran on nicely. I was really happy with it. Back to the mile again. I think she was suited. She got draw 1. Hopefully she can just hold the position just a touch better than last time, and she does. I can definitely see her finding herself into trifectas and quartets, and don't leave out your pick 6s.
In race 5, we'll see Silvano's Song. Now, he needed his last, and it would have brought him on.
Yeah, he needed it quite badly. Over the miles was far too short for him. Up and trip now to the 19. It's going to suit. We've got to be a nice pace on with Richard the Fearless. I put the blinkers on him just to see him concentrate a little bit more. His head was up in the air and not really looking around. For an old boy, he was all at sea on the poly for the first time. So hoping he's run a better race, but second after LA, it's always a bit of a concern. But keep an eye on him, and there'll be another race or 2 coming up when we can have a good look at him.
2 runners in race 6. Here we'll see Wordsworth in action. Now, he's a horse that thrives over the 5-furlong trip, and he's always about the action. He'll be joined by B52, who'll be making his local debut. Now, his KZN form really catches the eye. And Nick, the main question is, will he need it off a 4-month break?
He's been in training for a good majority of the time. He's had 1 or 2 little issues that have set him back, and he's had a gallop going into the race, and he's doing really well at home. He's tightened up nicely from where he was about 2 months ago. So I'm really happy with how he's progressed. Eldon's very happy with it, and his KZN form, like you say, has been quite fair, and his form's has been best over 5 furlongs. So I'm hoping for a really good effort from him from a good draw. And Wordsworth, you can never discount the old man. He's really ran a cracking race last time from a wide draw, I thought. And he ran on nicely, settled up, and I thought maybe back to the 5, if he can just settle off the leaders and run at them again, that could prove to be fruitful for him. I don't really like him, bouncing out and rolling to the front. I think he's a better horse settling and running at them. So we'll see that on Friday, and hopefully he can find his way into the top 3.
Sovereign's Call will be last out for the yard in race 7, and he's going to try Polly for the first time.
We've been desperately looking for a 14 on Polly where he can actually get a draw. He always seems to get drawn in the blue gum trees, and there's no chance for him running like that. His first start here, I didn't think I wasn't really happy with the run. He needed a little bit more than I expected, and he never quite quickened. So hopefully back on Polly, if he's settling off the speed and running at them, we'll see a more positive effort, and hopefully from there we can kick on and he can start winning a few races and becoming competitive here in PE.
Well, let's see if Sovereign Call can make that improvement on Polly for the first time.